Welcome to the Mindset on Resilience podcast. We're building a community of individuals that are confident, resilient, and mentally strong. I am your host, Daniel Truelove, and I'm excited to be with you all today. We have an amazing guest today. The guest is the Federal Programs Director. She's also the founder of an organization called Girls Supporting Girls. She is an amazing person, doing amazing things in every area of her life. And I'm excited to have this time to sit down with her so we can discover more of her resilience journey. My guest today is none other than Miss Sheree Hardrick. Miss Hardrick, how you doing today?
I am great today, and how are you today, Mr. True Love?
I'm doing great, doing great. Much better now that I'm speaking to you. I'll say that much. So, one thing I like to say is I think that journeys cross for a reason, and I'm excited that our paths have crossed. I feel like you are such an amazing woman, and you are a very significant person, not only in my life but also in mine and my wife's life. And so I like to give people, the honor and respect why that they're due while I have the opportunity to do that. I just wanted to let you know that you are a very special person over here in the True Love household. So I wanted to share that with you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so I wanted to start here. Can you tell us just a little bit about, kind of your journey? Like, obviously, when somebody hear that you're, a federal programs director, like, what is that? What does that even mean? And how did you get to, that space in your career?
I have to go back from my beginning as a child. So I was raised by an elderly grandmother who had very limited education. And so there were a lot of nights that she could not assist with homework, but she instilled in my brother and I the importance of getting an education. And so as a little girl, I can recall several days and Saturdays and Sunday afternoons playing with my baby dolls and a chalkboard having school. And so my ultimate goal as a little girl was to be an educator. I want to be a teacher. And so once I started with my education, I worked since the age of 14. I worked 30, 40 hours a week. And so what I did learn, a part of even early on, the importance of hard work, dedication, self motivation, and being driven to meet your goals. So it took a village to get me to where I am today. And I'm so thankful for the village. And I don't think our villages are as strong as they are today in our communities. So my uncles and aunts and other community members made sure that I had what I need in order to be successful in high school and in college. So in college, when I finished my BS, I knew that I needed a master's and wasn't really sure what I needed a master's in. And so, because I was passionate about elementary, I went ahead and pursued a master's in elementary education. And the job came posted for assistant principal at a junior high school. And so, I had just finished with my degree as admin leadership certification. And I simply went on an interview, not expecting to get the job, but I do know when you go prepared and ready in God's timing, the door will open and opportunity will avail itself for you. And so I was there as an assistant principal. And that's when I started Girls Supporting Girls. And that stands for Girls in Real Life Situations, Supporting Girls in Real Life Situations. So, once again, having the passion to help, having the passion to teach others, and just being able to give back to my community. And then the opportunity came for me to be an elementary principal, actually at the school where I attended elementary, K6. So I feel that was ordained as well. Another door, another opportunity to give back to my community. And I was a principal there for 9 years. And what I have learned on this journey, you have to be prepared and you have to continue to study and educate yourself that you are the best in your field. And so after doing that for 9 years, it was an opportunity for me to move to advance to central office to be director of federal programs. And so that's where I'm at today. And when you know that you're doing what you're called to do, it's not work. It's fun. And, I never dreamed of seeing myself at the level that I am today, but I do know by self motivation, determination, hard work, being prepared and committed to what you're called to do, you will be successful.
So you have a long, journey in education from in the classroom, to assistant principal to being a principal, and now working in central office. And you said that you always wanted to be in education. Was there a reason why you wanted to be in education?
Well, I had an aunt who was in education, and as a young girl, we would help her prepare her classroom in the summers or during Christmas holidays. But I just knew that I wanted to be a teacher. So, and that's what I focused on when I finished high school and started off to college. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. And so I know that I'm in a direct federal program. So you said, how do you teach still? But by working with other admins, there's opportunities to offer PD sessions and then being able to give back to the girls in the community. There are so many teachable moments that I can share with them as far as life, setting short-term goals and long-term goals in order to be successful.
So tell us a little bit. You mentioned your organization, Girls Supporting Girls. Can you tell us a little bit more about? You got all excited and giddy when you said. Can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly are you doing with this organization and the impact that you're making in the lives of the young women that you get opportunities to support?
Being raised by my grandmother, there was so much that I was not taught or opportunities that I was not made aware of because I was raised by my grandmother. And so, being assistant principal at a junior high school and seeing the needs for our young girls to have a positive role model in the community, so when they can talk to and be open and be real in a safe place for only girls, is how I actually started Girls. And once again, it's girls in real life situations, supporting girls in real life situations. So we have monthly empowerment sessions where we come and talk about real life, setting goals, what's next, life after high school. Do you have a plan? And offering them just self care hygiene tips, how to dress for success, what to wear out in public, what not to wear out in public, some things that we take for granted. And just having a safe place for them to come and knowing that there's other women in the community who have once been teenagers going through some of the same situation they're going to. And our ultimate goal is to empower them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that one of the first things you mentioned as you were talking, you were saying that giving them a plan, and one of the things that I think that um, some of our youth don't have is they don't have a plan. I go to school and I ask, so what you plan on doing? I don't know. Like, so you ain't never thought about it? I don't know. What's after this? It's like I don't know. It's like the I don't know factor, and it's hard to stay on course if you don't even have a destination that you're trying to get to. And I'm excited for the fact that that's the first thing you mentioned because I think direction, even as it relates to being resilient, I think if I'm headed somewhere and there's some potholes or there's some left turns, at least I know I can redirect and get back on track. But if I have no place that I'm headed, and now some adversity hits, maybe it's a little bit more difficult to be resilient. And I think that your impact within their lives is going to allow them, even if it's not, they don't even understand it right now. Intentionally, it's going to allow them to be more resilient in their life because now they know that they're headed somewhere. So I just wanted to celebrate you for that because I think that's amazing.
And I'm very passionate about that. So yeah, and I just think that we need each other, and we also teach them how to praise and celebrate each other. So I'm very big on using their legal name and not a nickname. And anytime they speak, they have to identify themselves, give their name, and we stop and we applaud and we celebrate each other. And as we know in society, there's mean girls and there's good girls, but there's a lot of girl drama. And so we have to be able to see ourselves for who we are and know our true identity. And that's one thing that we instill in them that when they show up, they should change or set the atmosphere in a positive way. And so, just those are profound moments when a girl initially first starts a first meeting, they're very shy, very timid, like, I can't do this. But 3 or 4 sessions down, I mean, they're excited to get up and say, hey, I am Sheree. And we celebrate, we make noise, and then teaching them that their voice is important and that others are watching and others are listening to everything that they say.
Question I have for you. And I didn't have this plan, so just you can go with me here if you want to, but if not, I understand. Is girl supporting girls something that you started because of something that you desired along your journey?
And it is. And so, my mother was not a part of my life a lot. So there was a lot that I could not get from my mother, but my grandmother taught me all that she knew. But as a teenager, just longing for a positive relationship with my mother was important to me. And I did not have that. And so a lot of girls do not have a positive relationship with their mothers. And so coming together with other adult mentors, other girls their ages, and setting that safe space that we can talk, we can ask questions, and we can also have some critical self reflections. So yes, it's that we're building each other, something that I did not have, um, and then being around other females the same age in that environment.
I love that because I think, like, even for me, a lot of the things that I've done or have, you know, went down journeys. Like I have a mentoring program as well, and I felt the same way. Like I felt at certain paces in my life, like man, I feel like I maybe would have done this a little bit differently if I had some type of mentors or someone to help guide me through these, different challenges or just life experiences. And I looked up and noticed that there were other people that don't have those individuals in their lives either. And I said I can either continue to let this be something that people desire and it not be there, or I can do something about it. And I think for a lot of people, we identify the things that we wish we had in life, and we can choose to now go and be that for other people. Um, if we pursue those things that end up being like passions and desires of ours, but being more so guided internally versus externally, because externally, be like, ah, I got life, I got family, I got you got responsibility, you got stuff you gotta do. But at the same time, there's something that's internally driving you that lets you know that this is something that's much so needed, and you're building a community because some of those people may think that they're the only person that's in that situation, and now because of girls supporting girls, they know that there are other people that are out there like them. So I think that's amazing. I would just want to encourage you to continue to do that amazing work because those I know those girls are impacted by that, and I already know you've got some success stories or some experiences that you had that just continue to motivate you. Like, do you allow yourself to like to be vulnerable in like settings like that to really like share like life, and how does that help you? Does that provide any level of like motivation encouragement for you because you have a group of girls that are like kind of looking at your big sister or mom or auntie, I don't know what they refer to you as, but they're looking up to you, and does that give you some sort of motivation or encouragement or drive for your journey?
It does give me great motivation and a more of a determination to meet my purpose. I feel that is a part of my purpose. One thing that I know that I'm called to do is to gather the girls and to build that environment. And not only gathering girls, but you'd be surprised how many adult females need the life skills that we are offering and providing for teenage girls. And so we just come together, and yes, you have to be vulnerable, you have to be open, and you have to be transparent when you are in that setting as well. And so we keep it really real and keep it raw. So, and they know that I'm gonna speak from my heart, and it's been a great adventure, I would say, learning others' personalities who jive and who don't jive, and listen to the girls, the little cliques. So wherever you go, females are going to have a clique. And that's one thing that we are very aware of. And so it's our goal not to have a clique, you know. And what we found out that girls go to the same school and not even aware that, hey, this girl go to your school. And so that has built other relationships and positive relationships as well.
What prompted you to start this? So you're an assistant principal at a junior high school. Obviously, I know you said you saw the needs that were going on within their lives. But what made you say, "Hey, I'm going to do this"? What you're doing this? Would you consider this like a mentoring group or community? Like, what would you consider this? Is this
So what we say is we are a sisterhood. We're a sisterhood. There's no membership. There's no dues. There's donations that are given to support girls. And so being in that setting at a junior high with 12, 13, and 14-year olds, and often as adults, we assume that they know, but really they don't know. And so that's how I originally started Girls, was just I made some flyers, put them out there, and girls come and they go. I send text messages, encouraging messages. And so there is a need. And what I say, one of my challenges right now, that we know that there's a need, but getting the parents to realize the importance of bringing their girls.
wow? And I think that's I think that's reflective of education, or is reflective of culture just as a whole. There are some that are very, very supportive and know that this is something that their girls need, and there are some that maybe not as supportive, or and not even aware that this is something that needs, because of not necessarily doing the investigative or the introspective work that it takes in order to be aware of certain things. So for me, like, I can look back over different spaces in my life and say that, hey, I needed to grow in this area right here, and because of that, like, I did some work. But a lot of times we can literally go down a journey within life to where we just kind of repeat what we know. My mom and dad was this way, and so therefore, what I'm that way. My grandma was that way, and therefore, what I'm that way. And we just kind of like repeat these cycles, but we don't all the times recognize that the cycle that that person went through was based on only what they knew, and maybe they didn't at that time have everything that you have. So how can we now kind of not say that we're going to repeat, but also just like kind of moving forward with the opportunity to kind of be better than you were before. It's kind of like that story. I don't know if you ever heard it, of the child who saw their grandma cooking a ham in a pan, and she cut the ends off of it. And so when she started cooking her hams, she would cut the ends off of it. And then her son or daughter came up and said, "Hey, mom, why do you cut the ends off of it?" And then she was like, "I don't know. Grandma did that." And so when she says, she goes and asks, I wonder why she did it. And she goes and asks about it. And the grandma tells her, "Well, my pan was too small." And so she did it based off of a necessity, but now the other person is doing it based off of a lack of understanding. And I think we all have to have the awareness to be able to understand so that we can grow and move forward.
So the word I would like to use that is exposure. And so we do try to expose our young ladies to other opportunities, STEM opportunities. We do have activities. We do art, we do crafts, and I always encourage them to try something different. And so we know with the world and technology right now, our young ladies and young guys, and my son often remind me that mama, boys have real life situations too. So, but I tell him I'm not called to boys, I'm called to girls. And so, with that being said, we do something different every month. And so they found out that, oh, I do like to sew, or I will learn how to knit. And I feel that if we expose to something different and be consistent with the exposure, they will have different opportunities and know that there's other opportunities to be successful. And we also stay current. We do current events and tell them what's going on that they're not aware of in the community or in society, to expose them to other successful females.
Do you feel like you being in their life has that like played a positive role in their ability to be resilient? Like, have you seen like just the work that you are doing now is actually benefited and is now kind of playing a role in other young women now repeating, you know, the success that you've had because you've gone back to reach back and be a part of their lives?
So I will say yes. In talking to the girls, we have two that are in college right now, and one said that she would never have gone to college if she had never heard that I have went and finished. I have several degrees, and I always tell them that it's not easy. You know, there'd be some nights you might need to be in your room studying or at home studying. And I commuted back and forth to Troy State for 4.5 years to earn my degree. And I've shared that and worked. So I didn't have time to go out and hang out. I had to either study or I was working to support myself during that time. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice or you have to make a choice. Either you're going to study and be successful or you're going to hang out. And I'm not saying you can't hang out and enjoy, but sometimes you have to do one or the other. And so, actually, with that being said, is self discipline. What's your top priority right now? So you might can't go to the picnic or the barbecue because you have to do an assignment or a project, or take your calendar and plan your time out that you can do everything that you desire to do that week. So to hear them talk about that and kind of plan stuff, and then reflect after the fact, well, I should have done this or I should have done that in order to accomplish this. So we have those conversations, and it's good to hear them to conflict resolutions, hear them talk about it in their terminology, or how somebody, well, no, you can't do that, or you should, hear them correct each other is hilarious because it's in their terminology where they understand each other and not, I guess, somebody a lot older tell them to do it this way and not that way.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this: if you are getting young uh, women to utilize a calendar, listen, I need to find out what you're doing because I got some kids that I work with. Nothing, they open up their calendar. I'm telling, listen, you have to utilize your calendar. This is how you do it. Put the date on there, and next week, hey, what time are we doing that? We just talked about that last week, and it's supposed to be on your calendar. So if you're doing that, listen, you're definitely winning. So
But you have to meet them where they are. Tell them to use their cell phone for other than texting and Snapchat. Put it on there and show them how to set a reminder and how it will come up on their phone, on their calendars. So that's just the way, that's where they are. And that's something they're going to have with them 24/7.
So with that being said, obviously you're doing a lot of work in the community, and I think that all of that is absolutely amazing. And understanding just the reasoning behind why you're doing that is at some point in your journey, this was a desire, this was a need that you had, and you decided that when you had an opportunity to pay it forward, you decided to do that. And so, kind of like what gives you, let's just say the confidence to kind of like go out and do that? Like, where does that come from?
Um, that's just self motivation. When you know that you know, it's not work, it's a calling, it's a ministry, it's an outreach. And so, in my mind, if one girl shows up or if 50 girls shows up, I'm just as excited about the one showing up. And I said before, we're not a membership. They come and go, but I've learned if you give them something that they desire and that they need, they will come back. And we start on time and we finish on time, unless they want to continue a conversation or hang out with the adults that are there. So it comes back with self motivation, and that's my drive, and that's what keeps me going. And once again, if you're passionate about it, it's what you're called to do, that's your purpose and your reason and your why, you will do it, and it doesn't become a burden on you. I can do girls 24/7, but what I do know that everybody that works with me or partner with me is not as passionate about girls as I am. And so I have to make sure that I keep that in mind. I can meet every day or every weekend, but my volunteers, they have life too. And so once again, it goes back to what you're called to do.
I'll mention two things. The first thing is that what you're called to do. So I can tell like you're driven by purpose. Like your confidence comes from knowing that I know for a fact that this is an assignment that I have. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and not everybody knows necessarily their assignment as of right now. And so, with you being somebody that does kind of like operate in that way, uh, do you kind of think that there's a connection between like purpose and resilience and confidence and all those things? So like, is there some even the mindset that you take to something like because you said when you're not because think about this, you said well when you know you're supposed to be doing something it's not work. Now somebody else can be like, yeah, true. I don't know about that now, because somebody may not be operating based off the same way in which you operate and look at life. And so is that kind of the lens that you see life through?
So let's go back to this. Um, Being in education has opened my eyes to so much. Um, there are great families in our world and in our community. There are some families who are doing a gem up job raising, nurturing, and parenting their kids to the best of their ability. And what we do know is that parents say that parenting does not come with a manual. And so people are always looking for resources to be a better parent or support to help their child get where they need to be. And so, because I am called to gather the girls, I am constantly looking for ways to be able to provide resources and information to better them. And with that being said, being resilient, being determined, being committed, that's where my energy, that's where my drive come from. Knowing that I am doing what my purpose and my part of my destiny to do. And so you have to be around like-minded people. And I feel that iron sharpened iron. And I just feel that by doing this work, I've met some great women who are passionate about helping young ladies or helping other women get to where they need to be. Um, and so, even with that, that's just like adding more fuel and more excitement, more drilling to what I'm called to do. So, there's a lady who wants to empower the adult women. I mean, so if I wasn't gathering the young girls and gathering some other adults to partner to volunteer to be mentors, I never would have met this amazing woman. And so she come with that passion, and that makes it more worthwhile of doing what I'm called to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I ask this: how did you know? You mentioned a couple of times that you're called to gather the girls. Like, how did you discover? How did you discover that that was a calling for
So, um, just by faith and by knowing, when you know that you know that you know. And when I first started talking about it, it's like I got confirmation after confirmation. Women who are willing to help, women who are willing to support, and make my dream become a reality. And so that's how I got started. And once again, I would say on this journey, as I was doing this, I was able to even adopt my son by doing girls. And I feel by being at the right place, doing my purpose, doing what I'm called to do, God blessed me with a child. And so, he's 13 years of age. He's my why, he's my reason. And so, even thinking about that being a part of my journey, a part of my process, that continues to add fuel to what I'm called to do.
so along your journey of walking in purpose, there was something that intersected with that, and now James was part of
Yes.
your life as you were walking in purpose. I think that's amazing that when we're walking in the direction and where we're supposed to go, the things that probably that we desire the most, just tend to kind of find us on that path. And one of the things that I think that is important for other people as well, I think some people make purpose a lot more difficult than what it should be. One of the things that you said when we first started talking, you said you saw a need, and you was like, the other girls that are in this community, this is what they need, and you feel the need that they had. I think that for a lot of us, we see things that are needs, and we have the opportunity to show up. We have an opportunity to do something about those, and some of those needs may agitate us a little bit more than others. I think if that's the case, if you continue to think about it, if you continue to see it, I'll say we pick up a shovel and we do something about it, and we get to work. And so
That's right.
I'm grateful for that. So, what would you say, kind of like as allowed you to develop the mindset that you have right now? I feel like you're a very positive person. Like your whole demeanor, have this big smile on your face. Even you could be a therapist, like you know what I'm saying, a voice over model or something like that. Like you have a very calm, very soothing voice. Like you're always smiling, always positive. What would you say? Like what is this mindset that you have? Where does that come from?
So, what I have learned is that life is going to happen, and we determine the outcome. And it might not be the outcome that we want. And what I do know that we can always find a positive in every situation. And so that really, and my faith and trust in God. And what I've learned that nothing happens on this journey unless God allow it to happen. And if He brings me to it, He's going to bring me on the other side or take me to the other side of this. And so I've always had a very strong faith. I walk by faith and not by sight, and that's my mindset. I believe every time I plan a girls' meeting or a function, a gathering, a banquet, God always shows up and shows out. When I say that, the resources, the finances is always there. And so He says, write the vision and make it plain that man can run with it. And that's what I have had to do with girls. Now, girls is a lot bigger than me. It's a lot bigger than my budget would ever be, but I do trust God in this process. And so that's just how I operate every day. Even on my job, I don't get stressed out. There's no need. There's no need to get frustrated. There's no need to get angry. And so you do what you're called to do and you do what you can do. And there are some things we can't do anything about. And so we have to leave that there and go process it and come back and start over again. And that's just how I live from day to day.
One of the things that I take from this is that you support women, right? So girls supporting girls, and so the last thing that we do on our episode, or a way that I like to end it, is in a way to where I call it "Better Days Ahead." What kind of encouragement, or maybe it's a mantra, or maybe it's words of wisdom? What is Sheree? What kind of advice or wisdom would you have to share for somebody that listens to this? And encourage them that there are better days ahead.
So, with that being said, to encourage someone that there are better days ahead, it all depends on how you look at your better days. And what are you determined to get and to gain from the days to come? And the word tells us that today have enough worries and cares of its own. So if we can take care today, write your plan, write your vision for your future, and trust God with it all. And that is just how I know that everybody doesn't have a strong faith or doesn't believe, but that is what I would have to offer. You know, you might be one person, but you might be somebody's whole entire world. And so we have to show up if it's just for one person or it's for 15, 20, or a whole, football stadium full of people. And so just do what you know and do right by people, and you will be successful.
I was want to say thank you so much, Ms. Hardrick. I really do appreciate you just coming on to speak with me, to share your experiences, and I hope someone listens to this. I, I know this wasn't a part of this, but I'm going to ask, how can we support girls supporting girls? Like, is there like, if we want to donate, or if we want to, or maybe if we are as a woman or somebody that's interested in volunteering, how can we support the girls in your community in a greater way to help you do the mission and your purpose?
So I would say this, and I have to be transparent. My husband transitioned 2 years ago, and so I've taken my website down, and I had to come back and regroup because I felt that I need to do life, and I need to find my new place in life. And so my husband was a very strong part of girls. And one thing that we do at every session is we always sit down and eat together. And he was our chef, he was our cook. And so the girls really look forward to that. And we have been meeting now, what, for the last 6 months. And we have a team meeting in March where we will come back and revamp and do some things different from girls. But they can contact me at 334-447-3674, and I can kind of guide them what they can do or how they can contribute to girls at this point in time. And so I'm just a very transparent person, but I had to back up, I had to grieve, had to heal, and but I'm back doing what I'm called to do. So I felt that I need to take time to adjust and take care of James and I and make some transitions for us. But I know what my passion is. I know what I'm called to do, and we're doing that. And so I'll have a website back up like mid March, and we'll be in full operation.
Got you. And I know we didn't have this. Was it difficult? Um, was it was it challenging to start back up, knowing that how much of a role that your husband played in this, and unfortunately, he transitioned. Was it hard for you to get back started without him there, or what was that like for you, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind at all. Um, what I do know is that once again, this is my purpose, and this is what I'm called to do. And like I said, I had to stop to heal, to grieve, and to move to my next. And so, and that's a part of life, and that's a part of any journey. And I cannot give anybody something that I don't have if I'm hurting myself. And so, with him being our chef, being our cook, being hands on, and the girls enjoyed talking to him. And so, but we can talk about him still today, and laugh and being, and we're all in a good place. So, with that being said, we still provide a meal, our refreshments for our girls, because a lot of families don't sit down at home and eat together. And so our girls look for that and they need that. And so there's no devices on the table. And we have conversations. We have done conversation cue cards just to get them to talk and open up to each other. And so we are moving on, and we're going to continue to do girls and do what God has called me to do, because I was doing girls before I ever got married. So, but you have to do things properly and in order. And so I felt that I needed to resolve and grieve and heal. And so we're back at it.
I just want to say thank you so much for sitting down and having a conversation with me today. I'm excited about the work that you're doing in schools, but also outside of schools. One thing that I know is that I've heard during this is that you're doing what you've been purposed to do. So I just want to encourage you to continue to do what you've been purposed to do. And I know that you will continue to make a tremendous impact in the lives of many people. And so this is another segment of the Mindset on Resilience podcast. I'm excited to be your host here. And as she just said, continue to do all the things that you've been purposed to do, and you will continue to leave a mark on this world. Thank you so much for your time. You all have a great day.